estressante. Neurose na minha mente fez eu ser bem calculista. Muito frio, por isso tô na esquina, Não me impede, nego, vou passar por cima, por cima. Princesa, eu vou mudar de vida, Vou crescer teu peito, te botar na mídia, Bloquear as vadias que estão na minha lista. Gosto de te fuder porque tu é bandida. Sua bunda muito grande, faz eu cometer loucuras. Uma skunk, essa vida é muito estressante. Neurose na minha mente fez eu ser bem calculista.
Bunda tão grande, garota, ela é tão grande. Eu já tenho uma fiel, você vai ser minha amante. Quando vem por cima ela me deixa em transe. Novinha gostosa do corpo esticante. O pai dela acha que eu sou traficante. Peite um pequeno, eu vou te dar um implante. De giro com a calica que veio do bar. Essa neurose na minha mente faz eu ser pensante.
Hey, what's good everyone, this is Martin, and today we have a Stuani type beat tutorial, kind of like the old times where I would make tutorials and deconstruct beats. I was sitting here today and I was like, why don't I start making them back again? I'm bored. And so today we have a Stuani type beat tutorial, like the ones I haven't made in a long time. This is kind of like a plug and B, jazzy, R&B type beat if you wanted to. Yeah, let's just jump into the studio. One thing real quickly, I'm on the road to 3K on Instagram, so if you want, follow me here. This is my Instagram. Wait, I have a pop-up. This is my Instagram. I don't think you can see anything. I'll just put it on the screen, but just follow me there if you like what I do. I appreciate it. Alright, so we're in FL Studio. This is what the project file looks like. You have already heard the beat. So I'm gonna play it solo for a little bit without the vocals. And these vocals are just simply for reference, and I'll explain why later. So this is what the beat sounds like. So, one thing I've heard in many of Stuani's beats is that he has these very spacious, very broad head patterns. And so if you don't have vocals or a reference to it, it might sound like the beat is a little bit weird or a little bit off. So I put these vocals just to have a reference of how the track would sound like with someone on top of the beat. And I really like how it sounded, so I just kind of kept it. I've been doing this a bunch lately. So if any producer's watching this right now and wants a little tip, sometimes when you don't know if the beat hits hard or it doesn't, just put some vocals on it. It doesn't need to be any, like, even general related. Just put some vocals on it and see what happens. So, the beat is fairly simple. There's quite a few elements, I think, that I made for this melody and for the drums that I ended up taking out or not putting here. So I'll cover everything that I made that did end up on the beat. So the first thing were these chords. It was actually 4 chords. There was a second chord over here, but I couldn't get the chord that I had in my head to sound right, so I just threw it all away and made this kind of weird chord progression, which is kind of the same chord 3 times. And it sounds like this. So when you're making melodies in the style of Stuani, you want to go for really lushy, very pad, very sounds that feel like you're being hugged. You know, you want something that sounds very, very warm. And I wanted something that sounded like a Rhodes, but not quite a Rhodes, you know, because a Rhodes, even though it sounds soft, it still is a little bit harsh. So I went into Omnisphere, I have Keyscape, and I found this preset that's called Rhodes String Classic. And basically it's just a Rhodes with synthetic strings on top. And it sounds like this. It sounds really cool. Like if it was just the Rhodes, it would kind of sound like this. And if it was just the strings, it would sound like this. But when you add them on top of each other, they sound like this. Which I think is just the perfect kind of sound if you're looking to make like a Stuani type melody. You want something that sounds very dreamy. If I recall correctly, yeah, I took off some of the low end. You usually want to do this with your melodies. If you feel like you have a very present bass that might be getting on the way of the 808, just take it out. You can just EQ it like that. You don't need to use like parametric EQ or none of that. The second sound was this little plucky thing. I'll play it without any effects. It's just like a very silly pluck. It's this preset called Hyper Close Rhodes. So when I was looking for presets, I wanted something that sounded like Rhodes, but that wasn't Rhodes and was also kind of plucky. And I know that Omnisphere has many presets like this, where it's just like weird Rhodes. So I used this one, Hyper Close Rhodes, and I put some halftime on it, took the low end out. And you know, it's just a very silly texture that you can barely hear. But I feel like it adds something to it. The third element and almost last element of the melody is this little brass horn oboe thing. So this is what it sounds like. It's nothing crazy, it's just 4 notes. And to be really fair, I took this idea from glow beats, you know, and glow beats usually have horn melodies that play like this. And with a sound selection is similar to this one. And the melody was sounding okay, but it was sounding too dreamy. I wanted something to take it down to the floor a little bit, you know, something to make it sound a little bit more, not more evil necessarily, but just a little bit meaner. So I chose this preset from Purity. It's in the woodwind section. It's called Ovo. It's really used in plug and B. People usually use it as a lead almost. So yeah, it's really Jord notes. And then we have we have this piano, which is the notes from the chords copied and pasted over. I'm using the Maverick on Contact. And we have the piece that glues it all together, kind of. This is just like a piano improv. If you have a piano MIDI, like this one, even if you don't know how to play the piano, you can have a smaller MIDI. One thing I like to do is just sit down and play notes. Even if they're the wrong notes, just like capture the idea. Record the idea in real time. Even if you don't know which notes to play. You know, you have the melody in your head, but you don't know that you need to play G sharp and F sharp. Just play whatever. And then you can swap the notes on the piano roll and make it sound just like you wanted it to. So, it's this little solo. It's out of time on purpose. And basically, yeah, it's just like a little counter melody piano solo that I really like, and it's improvised. And so one thing that I feel like you can do in many of these beats is not really quantize your melodies like I did right here. You can see that this should probably start here or here, but it starts here. This note is moved like just a tiny bit, you know, it should be over here, but it's not. And it's just things like that, you know, like little imperfections that make your melody sound more perfect. And of course, the velocity changes. If you don't have a piano and you're not improvising the melody, but you're writing it down, you can do Option R on Mac, and I think it's Control R, or yeah, it's Control R on Windows, and you can have this randomized thing here. You turn on levels, turn off pattern, and then you can just switch the velocity like that. And that's it for the melody. It sounds like this altogether. It's a fairly simple melody. And so, yeah, let's just jump into the drums, which are, I think, my favorite part. This is what it sounds like. So these are really simple drums, because you want to let the rapper flow in these kind of beats. You want to let the rapper talk, speak, you know, on top of the beat. You don't want your drums to be obnoxious all over the place, just being too loud, being too messy. You just want it to like let it flow, you know. So make something really simple, very spacey, very vibey. and I started with this bass, which just follows one note, and it's C sharp. All sounds are from my B1 kit, link down in the description. It's 200 plus custom original sounds. There is a private stash kit, which I actually used all the sounds from my stash kit in this beat. Like, all the beats are from the stash that comes with the kit. There's like a customized one-shot kit, midis, FLPs, loops, and a bunch more. So if you're interested, check down the description. Just wanted to do a little advertisement real quick. It depends on how you start your beats. Many people start with their hi-hats, many people start with their claps, but the way you always start them is with the 808. I feel like it gives me a good motion of space. So then I moved into the clap, and it's just a clap, nothing crazy. And the rest of the percussions, I feel like this is a very good positioning for a perk, because it's like very bouncy, And again, I feel like with the melody, there was this one piece that glued everything together, and it was the piano. And with the drums, the same happens. It's the hi-hats, and they sound like this. And so without any effects, the pattern would sound like this. Where's my hi-hat? Without any effects, it would sound like this. And, with effects, it would sound like this. This, the plugin I made for hi-hats, and I use in all my beats. It like gives you full control over how you reverse your hi-hats, and you can add effects to them. You have different reverse algorithms. You can switch the types of delay and stuff. And so, yeah, this is what I use. I just wanted to explain it real quick. And yeah, that's what I did. The reverse one is up to like 80%, and reverse 2 is all the way up. I usually put the reverse 2 all the way up, either way. So this is how the drums would sound all together. Super simple pattern, nothing crazy about it. But again, you want to let the rapper and the melody flow, by itself. It doesn't need to be complicated to sound good. And this is how everything sounds all together with the vocals again.
Marcando sua bunda muito grande, faz o homem ter loucura, faz loucura, uma skunk, essa vida muito estressante, neurose na minha mente, fez eu ser bem calculista, muito frio, muito frio na esquina, não me impede, nego, vou passar por cima, princesa, eu vou mudar de vida, vou crescer teu peito, te botar na mídia, bloquear as vadinhas que estão na minha lista, gosto de te fuder porque tu é bandida, marcando sua bunda muito grande, faz eu cometer loucura, faz loucura, uma skunk, essa vida muito estressante, neurose na minha mente, fez eu ser bem calculista,
bunda tão grande, garota, ela é tão grande, eu já tenho uma fiel, você vai ser minha amante, quando vem por cima ela me deixa.
So that's literally it for the beat. It's a really simple beat, but I've been listening to a lot of Brazilian plug, and one name you hear all the time is Stuani, and I love the way he produces. And so, I wanted to give a little bit of, tribute in a way to Stuani. I really like his work. The master preset is the one for my kit. If you're wondering, it's this one, the Tonto Master. And yeah, it just looks like that. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in a few days. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and join our Discord server before it gets too cool.